this weekend for the action of supercross competition. Indeed, we are high rollers here on ESPN as the AMA Supercross Series comes to Las Vegas, Nevada. Hello, everyone. Dave Despain with Larry Myers. Welcome to Supercross. The Damon Bradshaw, Jeff Stanton, Jean-Michel Bayle battle for the championship comes to Las Vegas, where everybody talks about Lady Luck. First of all, has Lady Luck had a whole lot to do with this seesaw battle so far?
You know, no one mentioned luck until we got to Vegas, and I think that's wishful thinking. They're looking for it on the tables, roulette or crap, however it might be. Lady Luck has not been a factor at all. Damon Bradshaw has simply been awesome. Honda was underprepared at the beginning of the year. They caught up. They actually took the points lead away from Bradshaw, but he got it back. The doubleheader in Pontiac, that comes to mind, where he won 2 races. No luck involved. He's just awesome.
Well, he's been up and down, though, of course. The crash in Indianapolis temporarily took Bradshaw out of the lead. The question now, 3 guys virtually dead even, only 4 races left to decide the title. Good luck or bad luck, now is the time when you got to perform, and that's what's on the mind of our field reporter for this evening, the former World Speedway motorcycle racing champion, Bruce Penhall.
Thanks, Dave. Now, here's another thought as the 1992 season is growing close to an end. We've got that classic old battle once again. Youth versus experience. Jean-Michel Bayle, Jeff Stanton both have championship wins under their belt. But Damon Bradshaw, on the other hand, does not. He wants this probably more than anything in the world, believe me. So what's going to happen? Stanton and Bayle going to double down on Damon? Or will Bradshaw withstand all that pressure and take home the jackpot? Pressure. It could be a factor right here in Vegas. Back to you, Dave and Larry.
All right, thank you very much, Bruce. Larry, the battleground tonight is the Sam Boyd Silver Bowl football field where UNLV plays its home games, but it's a different kind of action here tonight. Let's take a look at the track. Perhaps the shortest layout on the Supercross schedule, confined to just the size of a football field. 3 sets of triples out there and a whoop section that Bruce Penhall says is going to be particularly tough.
Dave, a lot of our fans out there watch Supercross on television, and they might think these racetracks look, well, pretty much the same. Doubles, triples, hoops. But believe me, there's not one racetrack in the world that is identical. Here in Las Vegas, the guys are having trouble in the hoop section. They're not spaced very far apart. This racetrack is very tight, and this is where we're going to see a lot of passing as well as some bumps and bruises. I'll tell you what, as difficult as it may seem to us, these guys make it look so darn easy. Back to you guys up in the booth.
All right, thanks, Bruce. The hotels, the casinos, all virtually empty. Everybody in Las Vegas is out at the stadium for the Supercross. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Las Vegas, the city of lights gleaming in the background, and the bright light of Supercross 1991. Jean-Michel Bayle, the series champion, trying to defend his title, but boy, is he in a dogfight. As Bayle prepares to go to the line for heat race number 1, we're going to show you the highlights of the qualifying events that set this field for the championship finale. The charge into turn 1 and a surprise right off the bat. Chris Young out of Hemet, California, number 85. Jumps out front for, well, what, the length of the straightaway before he bobbles
just
and
about
surrenders the lead.
Then he becomes a Honda sandwich. Unfortunately, he was the filling. They went to either side of him to take over the first and second spot.
Jean-Michel Bayle jumping out front and taking Jeff Stanton, his teammate, along for the ride. Bear in mind, they are 2nd and 3rd in the series standings as we come to Vegas, behind Damon Bradshaw. Number 59, Michael Craig, has a good start. He is 4th behind the 30 of Larry Brooks. And remember, the top 4 have direct transfers to the championship finale. Bayle made this one look pretty easy, Larry.
You know, that's kind of a rarity, too, when you have Jeff Stanton pushing you from the number 2 position. But Stanton seemed content at the time, you know, to take that 2nd place, Dave, and that kind of surprises me. He likes to run up front and throw dirt in the face of the guy that's leading if he can make the pass.
Doug Dubach representing Yamaha's hopes, number 12, moving up and challenging Brooks here. And there was a fair bit of shuffling in the race for 3rd and 4th among Dubach, Brooks, and Craig. And there you see Dubach all the way up bouncing off the hay bales. Out front, Jean-Michel Bayle on cruise control as he just heads for the checkered flag with no serious attempt from Stanton to get around. Craig moved up to take over the 3rd spot late in the race, and so the king of the Mickey Thompson Ultracross Series will get a chance to do the Supercross thing here tonight. Bayle turning for home, taking the checkered flag, and winning qualifier number 1. And somehow I have the feeling that the rest of the evening will be more exciting than that. Stanton taking the
I would hope
spot.
so. We didn't see an awful lot there.
Bale, Stanton, Craig, and Brooks. Top 4. Let's go to Jean-Michel Bale with Bruce Penhall.
Jean-Michel, good thing you got that first heat over with. Good win.
Yeah, you know, I got a very good start. I know I was very fast, but, you know, it's very hard to take a good start right now. And, you know, I got the start, so it was no problem that time.
How's the racetrack so far? It looks like it's very tight, and that hoop section looks to be difficult.
Yeah, it's very slippery. It's very easy to crash. And, you know, I think in the main event, he's going to be the strongest guy. And the guy going to stay on the bike, going to win.
Nice heat win.
Bale, the champion. Here is Bradshaw, the man who would like to dethrone him, along with his teammate Jeff Emig, preparing for heat race number 2. So 2 more Yamahas to go up against the Hondas here. And as the gate drops, we'll see what Bradshaw has brought to town. He swapped the last 2 races, a doubleheader in Pontiac, Michigan, and moved back into the championship point lead. The launch and the charge to turn 1. Bradshaw, number 4, is, well, not mid-pack, but not a whole lot better than mid-pack, as out front goes number 9, Jeff Matasevich. The Kawasaki rider coming back from the broken leg has a great start. And there's Mike Kudrowski making a move on number 3 with Bradshaw hot on his heels. This will be interesting because there's a little bad blood here.
Well, a little bad blood. I think there's a lot of bad blood. Matasevich and Bradshaw. And I'll tell you right off the top, folks, that Bradshaw is going to make this pass on Kudrowski, and he's going to catch up with Matasevich. That's when the fun starts. The 2 of them have been at war, I think, for, what, the last 5 or 6 years, Dave? That sound about right to you?
I would say that's fair. And every race, it seems, the enmity deepens between the Yamaha rider Bradshaw and the Kawasaki guys. And I'm not quite sure where it stems from, but Bradshaw is just convinced that they're messing with him, that they're doing everything they can to disrupt his championship hopes.
And they
on
are.
the other hand, claim not guilty. But, but in any case, it does get interesting and very, very heated here as the 2 Kawasaki's run out front, and Bradshaw, determined to get around them and take the heat race victory, starts to put the pressure on through the tabletop jumps and the whoop-de-doos. And here's Bradshaw alongside. He's got the speed, it appears, but he doesn't have the inside line. Look at that cut back in the
Boy,
pass.
that was some kind of move. Kudrowski went wide. He knew Bradshaw was out there. He went wide to take the line away. Bradshaw saw it coming, just squared the corner off, squirted underneath him. And now, here's where the fun starts. The 2 arch rivals, the enemies, and they are enemies. Make no bones about it.
Bradshaw putting a big launch off that jump to try to get that gap closed down. This rivalry, I guess, was inevitable. In 1989, Matasevich was the Western Region 125 champion in Supercross. Bradshaw won the Eastern Regional title. They are on rival factory teams, and now they have at it here in the Silver Bowl in what would prove to be an evening-long and very exciting confrontation.
Actually, Dave, the rivalry goes back to the days of amateur Supercross. That's where they first started bumping heads. They have never stopped. Now, coming up, the confrontation that we're talking about, watch Matasevich. See him bobble just a little bit. That slowed him down, and when Bradshaw tried to get by on the inside, there was not enough room there. Matasevich was just kind of hogging the line because he had been slowed down. Bradshaw hit him. He went down. Matasevich went on. One of those racing mistakes. That's all it was.
Yeah, we'll definitely give you another look at that, too. But first, let's go ahead and finish the story here. And the story is Bradshaw trying to scramble back into a transfer position. Now, remember, he was on the ground, so he's got to climb back to 4th or better. And he ends up battling with his teammate Emig here. Easily rails around the outside of Jeff. And as the white flag flies, Bradshaw has re-earned that qualifying spot. Matasevich, whose little bobble triggered the incident, managed to remain on his wheels, comes to the checkered flag with room to spare over his teammate Mike Kudrowski. Bradshaw pulled off one more pass on the final lap and finished 3rd with Brian Swink getting the final transfer. Let's go to Bruce Penhall with winner Jeff Matasevich.
Chicken, what a first heat for you, huh? Did you feel what happened right behind you?
Yeah, I sort of slid out, and I think Damon was trying to go underneath me or something. He got caught up in my rear wheel and went down.
Yeah, this little left-hander seems to be getting a little bit slick. How about the hoop section? Is that any bother to you at this point?
The whole track's pretty slick. You got to really watch what you're doing out there. I think it's probably a little bit easier to follow someone and let them discover how fast you can go into something.
A repeat in 1990, hopefully tonight?
I sure hope so, Bruce.
Get after it. Thanks.
Another look at the incident. See right there, Matasevich gets sideways. Bradshaw is already committed. Can't slow down in time to miss him. Bradshaw is on the ground. Let's go to Bruce Penhall with Damon Bradshaw.
Damon, that first heat, you really didn't make a great hole shot, but you had to work hard to get right up there with Chicken. Now, I must have been in the best seat in the house when that accident occurred. It looks like he kind of overslid a little bit, and you were kind of diving underneath him and just caught his rear wheel a little bit. Is that what happened?
Yeah, that's what happened. You know, we went in there, and I had the inside, and I was in the position I wanted to be, but you know, when he broke loose, there was not really anywhere for me to go. I tried to get out of it, but you know, there was no way. I went down and got back up and, you know, qualified.
I tell you what, though, I mean, you had to work hard, because once you did crash, you went back to about 8th place, and you did get through to the final. I mean, you're having to work hard. Is the racetrack changing at all?
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard for the main event. It's not going to be quite as good as it was in the qualifiers, but you know, everybody's got to ride the same track, and it's going to be who gets a good start and stays on 2 wheels.
The motorcycle's okay, and Damon Bradshaw is okay after that crash?
Yep, we're ready to go. We're 100%.
Get after it. Thank you.
Here is Brian Lunas, Damon's mechanic, getting the motorcycle checked over and ship shape for the main event. Appears to be no major harm after the tangle with Matasevich. We'll be right back with semifinal action. 8 riders are into tonight's main event via the heats. 10 more will go from the semifinals. And as the field come to the gate, we'll highlight the action for you with Guy Cooper, number 5, down there on the inside and trapped on the inside. A terrible start for the veteran from Oklahoma as his teammate jumps out front. Long, tall Larry Ward grabs a hole shot. He had a horrible heat race and will now try to make amends in the semifinal. Nobody likes to ride the semi, especially when the track's bad.
Well, they don't, but every time they ride the semi, if you'll notice, you talk to them later and they say, well, yeah, I don't mind riding the semi. I got one more look at the racetrack.
Indeed, the top 5 again move up, and I want to call your attention to number 6, Jeff Ward. He takes the different line down through this set of whoop-de-doos. What a horrible season he's had. What a horrible night here as that motorcycle just hops right out from under him, and the former champion of this series continues to struggle in this, his final year. He is retiring at the end of the campaign. This was to be the farewell tour. It has been a Ward disaster all season. Up front, Larry Ward, no relation, making the best of a good situation. Get the start and go.
You know, Jeff Ward mentioning his season, Dave, being so bad, I have to think that because it is his last season, he's slacking off a little bit. And when you start slacking off on a supercross track, you start doing things that are unnatural. And I think that's causing a lot of his problems.
We're watching Ray Somo do what comes natural, and that is get around the guy in front of you. He picks off Chris Young, who we saw in the heat race, and now finally Guy Cooper gets things rolling. Number 5, clearly the fastest man in this trio, the most experienced, experiencing a little bobble through the whoopie-doo section right there as he tries to do something with Somo. After the bad start, Cooper, who interestingly enough is the same age as Jeff Ward, but not considering retirement, finally pulls off the pass on the inside.
Cooper looks like a young man of about 15, in my opinion. That guy is flying. Now, there's Doug Dubach. Talk about a rough season. He's had it. He was in second place in this semifinal event. He's going to go way to the back of the pack, and along with Jeff Ward, they'll have to ride the last chance qualifier as Cooper moved into second.
Ward wins it. Here you see Dubach just coming across a full lap behind. Should make for an interesting last chance race. Cooper will come home with second spot. So it's a Suzuki sweep here in the first of the 2 semifinals. Again, the key there will be that these guys have a pretty good feel for the racetrack come main event time. Somo, Young, and Keith Johnson rounding out the top 5. Those are the transfer positions. Highlights of semifinal number 2 begin with a pair of Yamaha riders out front. The factory bike of number 8, Jeff Emig, and the privateer entry of number 92, Mike Chamberlain of Garden Grove, California, and the private guys out in front of the factory guy. They always like that.
They like it. I don't know about the factory guys. In fact, Jeff Emig is going to change that right now. Says, you're not supposed to be ahead of me. I worked too hard to get back, son. And he did. Jeff Emig takes over the number 1 spot. Chamberlain looks behind him, and all he sees is the number plate of Gene Newmack, the Florida rider.
So it's a transcontinental battle for the runner-up spot here, and a good one indeed. Inside move there by Chamberlain, which Numac is able to fend off and go ahead and complete the pass and move up into second spot. For these privateers, making the main event is a big deal. Now here's 4th, 5th, and 6th. Number 11, Denny Stevenson. Mike LaRocco, a main event winner earlier this year, struggling just to get into the feature tonight. They come swooping by the 92 of Chamberlain. So now it's Stevenson 3rd, Chamberlain 4th, but LaRocco, number 7, back there in 5th spot. And believe me, Team Kawasaki not going to be happy about that. Good to see Stevenson coming back from his injury.
Well, it is a bad wrist, and I'm not so sure that Mike LaRocco is not suffering from that earlier ailment that Stevenson had, a bad wrist. He's just had some terrible rides this year, Dave, and it's because that he says he's not been able to hold on properly. Emig, though, getting the job done in front, and that's got to make the Yamaha camp happy.
They're in the final lap, and you can see the gap back to Numac here as he hangs on desperately to that second spot, now under pressure. Ooh, nice stylish move across the line by Emig, but at that precise moment, Mike LaRocco crashed himself out of 5th spot. He was all alone on the track. Larry, as you pointed out, he's had wrist trouble hanging on, and indeed, he hit the dirt hard. And what an unfortunate ending this is for the man who won this race last year, his first Supercross victory. Larry, he's in pain.
Well, it's either pain or disgust, maybe a combination of the two. Watch what happens here. He doesn't want anything to do with anyone. I think he's just upset and mad. He just says, look, take me back to the truck. That's it.
That's his dad, by the way, that he waved off there. The results show Emig, Numac, Stevenson, Tishner, and Palmer. And let's hear from Pop LaRocco.
Mr. LaRocco, I mean, unfortunately, Mike had a great year last year. He crashed out in the semifinal. Is he hurt?
Yeah, he's got an injured wrist. He has a broken navicular bone, and he's been trying to ride. He broke it in Anaheim. He's just re-injuring it. This type of track is really hard on it, so he's going to just withdraw from the rest of Supercross from here out.
From the rest of the year, is it re-broken the bone then, or is he just...
It's been broken, and it's just not healing. It's not getting any better. So he's just going to withdraw from the Supercross.
Mr. LaRocco, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, it's bad news for LaRocco, but I think that's a good strategic decision. Here is Jeff Ward, who has to try to ride the last chance qualifier after missing last weekend's doubleheader in Michigan.
Last week you didn't show up to Pontiac. What was the reason that you missed the 2 nights of racing in Michigan?
Well, we had a weekend off prior to going into Pontiac, and I had a little piece of skin cancer that I went to get cut off, and it was a little bit bigger than they thought, and it took a little more stitches, and then I got a staph infection in it, so we had to reopen it up and let it drain, and it was just about halfway okay ready for Pontiac, but I felt if I went there I could have, you know, got infected again. I didn't want to do that, so I stayed home.
So do they have to cut into the muscle at all, or is it just skin?
Yeah, there's some like tendons and stuff that go in there, so it's kind of painful for a little bit, but basically the staph infection what caused my whole arm swelled up. I mean, it was like, I got real scared, you know, I thought something was going to be major here, but it just, you know, a couple of days with some heavy penicillin shots and things like that, it went away pretty quick.
Well, that problem may be solved, but Jeff has another. In the last chance qualifier, he needs to be second or better, and he is now third in the midst of a great battle between Mike Chamberlain and Doug Dubach, and look at Ward doing everything he can to try to get around these guys. Got to be a little frustrating to be a former champion and not be able to make the main event.
Dave, I go back and I still say Ward knows he's retiring. He's just not riding the way he used to. He's given up for the season. That's my opinion. Jeff Ward has just flat given up. It's not taking a thing away from him. The guy is a 2-time Supercross champ, 7 times won the national title. He can do whatever he wants out there. He's been an asset to the sport, but he's just not riding the motorcycle.
Well, he wants to go IndyCar racing and has a deal to drive an Indy Lights machine. He's not done yet with Chamberlain here. Still a shot at that championship main event, but it's very clear that racing cars is now on Ward's mind. Dubach gets the spot. Chamberlain gets the final transfer, and Jeff Ward will not ride the main event this evening. The 250 field is set. We'll have the 125 main event when we come back with Supercross from Vegas. Back in Las Vegas, big crowd on hand down at the far end of the Silver Bowl, the starting gate. And there, the cream of the crop in Western Regional 125cc Supercross, eyeing that starter and preparing for the drop of the gate. Country is divided in half. For the last few weeks, we've been watching the Eastern Regional riders try to figure out a way to beat Brian Swink. Here tonight, they have a similar challenge for the Western guys, and that is to whip Jeremy McGrath. McGrath comes in with 3 wins in the last 4 starts, and so as the field come to the gate, that's the guy we'll be watching for. Ready to go with the first main event of the night. There's the launch down to turn number 1, and boom, right off the bat, Tommy Clowers plows his Kawasaki through the hay bales and picks up a stream of banners for a souvenir, and boom, just as quick, Chris Neal is on the ground. His Suzuki is in trouble, and out front, number 1, Jeremy McGrath.
Well, you said it at the outset. They're all chasing and going to be chasing, I think is what you said. Now it's being proven. Jeremy McGrath, winner of 3 of the 4 Western Regional events so far this season, and he has done it with ease. Now, the young man right behind him, number 22, that Pro Circuit Peak Antifreeze Honda, their teammates actually, Buddy Antunez, has shown signs of greatness, shown signs of being able to ride with McGrath, but unfortunately, he's not been able to ride with him the duration of the race day.
A whole shot for Jeremy McGrath. Bad news for the rest of these troopers. It's going to be interesting to see a matchup between this man and Brian Swink in the upcoming Dallas race, because Swink has done in the East what he's doing in the West. Here's the race for 3rd and 4th. Local boy, 37, Jimmy Gaddis, from right here in Las Vegas, challenged big time by Ryan Hughes, and it's good to see Ryan back in the hunt.
Well, it is. An injury has kept Ryan Hughes on the sidelines, he and his Kawasaki, throughout most of this season, but he certainly is showing no effects of the injury right now as he's challenging Jimmy Gaddis, the local favorite for position on the racetrack.
Inside move by Hughes, and he's got the spot. The Vegas fans don't like that a lot. That will drop Gaddis back to 4th position. This is a swap of 3rd and 4th that you're watching here, and it's about to become a 3rd, 4th, and 5th battle. Number 69, Kyle Lewis, the California Charger, closes up on that battle with a daring double jump there. He just about came up short, and that could have been disaster. Instead, he managed to hang on, and he hopes to mount some sort of a challenge here to Ryan Hughes and Jimmy Gaddis. 3rd, 4th, and 5th, the issue. No battle up front as the Peak Antifreeze teammates start running away. Again, a bobble by Lewis. He's pushing really hard.
He definitely is pushing hard. Here comes Gaddis. Notice the 2 different lines. Hughes favors the inside. Gaddis going way to the outside. No particular advantage that I can see, but usually if nothing is happening on the racetrack, if you're not challenging, you'll find the 2 riders would be following each other, because one of those lines should be smoother and better.
Let's give factory Phil Lawrence, number 65, a call. He comes up to join the quartet. Here's Gaddis. Whoa, big jump, and he's back in front of Hughes. Nice move by Gaddis. He's back to 3rd, and now here's Kyle Lewis moving around Hughes. Whoa, and here comes Lawrence leaping into the picture, and just as this happens, number 22, Buddy Antunez, has run off the racetrack. He's back in the middle of this pack. Antunez, number 22, was 2nd. He's now 3rd behind Jimmy Gaddis. Here is Antunez. It was a little off-course bobble, no big deal, except it cost him a lot of ground. So now it's a 5-man battle for position. Gaddis, Antunez, Lewis, Lawrence, and Hughes in a 5-way fight for 2nd.
Way out in front, he's long gone, Jeremy McGrath, but what a battle for this number 2 position. The crowd is just on their feet, hollering, of course, for this young man, Jimmy Gaddis, holding down that number 2 spot. Antunez had a huge lead. Whoa, and Antunez, wow, what kind of problems he is having. That's the 2nd time tonight he's run off the track. That one is going to be a disaster. He's going to be out of it now.
Antunez lost his grip on the left handlebar and just spit himself into the hay bales. He is way back now. Take another look.
Watch this. He comes down to, that's it, just jerked. He hit so hard that front end slammed into the ground, and it jerked the handlebar out of his hand. And, boy, he's lucky he didn't get hurt out of that one. But he's up back on the racetrack, but he certainly is out of contention.
That leaves Gaddis and Lewis to race for 2nd and 3rd, while Lawrence and Hughes have batted for 4th and 5th. They were behind Antonez when he crashed, so they lost a couple of bike lengths.
And there goes Lewis.
Move by Lewis.
Kyle Lewis takes over the number 2 position. This is some kind of a scrap. Look at this. All 4 of them are still in contention for that number 2 spot. 4 riders going at it, and look, there goes,
oh, Hughes is on the ground.
Hughes goes down.
Gaddis had made a bobble. Hughes was trying to get by him. Hughes lost the front end. He crashed himself out of the pack. Up front, who cares? Jeremy McGrath says, I don't know any of that's even going on.
He's on cruise control. We can maybe excuse Ryan Hughes. First race back, and he's having problems.
We'll be back with more from Vegas. It's been a sensational 125 championship main event. You're watching number 69, Kyle Lewis, Southern California Charger, trying to hang on to his advantage over Phil Lawrence, but as we say it, he makes a bobble cased on the top of that jump.
I'm beginning to think, Dave, this second place is something that no one wants. We've had riders in it. We've had riders out of it. Riders that were in it hit the ground. Some of them went backwards. No one is going forward. And again, Jeremy McGrath is out front. And like you said, who cares? Not Jeremy McGrath, as he's making a runaway of this one. But the battle behind him is intense. What race action.
Well, Factory Phil is right there in position to challenge for that runner-up spot. Whoa! Lewis is the next to crash. Lewis loses it through the whoops. He's on the ground. Factory Phil takes over the runner-up spot. Lewis with a great recovery here manages to hang on to 3rd. Gaddis is 4th behind him. And don't count Ryan Hughes out after hitting the ground once. He's still 5th. This is hard to keep track of.
It's definitely hard to keep track of. In fact, the corner workers can't keep track. They're waving the blue flag. That's the flag for the lappers. You're supposed to get out of the way. Someone's lapping you, and he doesn't even know what's going on. That's the battle on the racetrack there. No lappers involved. This is a fantastic race.
3rd and 4th place, the issue. Whoa, and Lewis takes Gaddis all the way to the top of the racetrack. Another 2 inches, he'd have been out of the Sam Boyd Silver Bowl. Sensational action. That will give Lewis 3rd and drop Gaddis to 4th. Seesaw battle. Remember, Factory Phil Lawrence passed Lewis when Lewis crashed, so he's up there all alone in 2nd. This isn't over yet. They're side by side again, Larry.
As wild as Lewis has been riding, if I'm Gaddis, I think I want to make any kind of a ball. And there he goes to the inside, and he takes over the number 3 position, or retakes, I should say. He's been there, what, 3-4 times tonight. This is just unbelievable race action.
Pretty good contest to see who's made the most mistakes tonight. Has it been Gaddis or Lewis? And count Hughes in that group, I guess, because he's been on the ground once tonight. 3rd, 4th, and 5th is what you're watching. Hughes had moved from 5th right here in this same corner a few laps back and then crashed himself back into the traffic, but now 68 has come back to contend. It appears Gaddis is getting his rhythm down and opening it up a little bit.
I think Gaddis has watched all of the antics of not only himself, but those behind him, and I think he has figured out in his mind that the safest place to be is away from everyone else on the racetrack, and that's exactly what Gaddis is trying to do, put distance between himself and the battle for the number 4 position behind him. Hughes is coming back strong. Outstanding ride for the first ride back for this young Kawasaki ace.
Yeah, you would expect him to not be perhaps in the best physical condition after the long layoff, but he's certainly showing good strength here. He'll give Lewis the outside line, and he'll take the inside up through the whoop-de-doos as they continue. Oh, wait a minute. Major lane change for Ryan Hughes. No turn signal and across 4 lanes of traffic.
Well, the rider in front of him kicked a hay bale out. You just saw a glimpse of it on the left part of your screen, and I don't know if Hughes saw that and moved over to avoid it, or if maybe he's getting tired, Dave, and the motorcycle kind of wanted to go that way, so he went with it. Boy, just going with the flow, though, Jeremy McGrath. Doesn't he make it look easy?
Well, he sure does, and it's certainly in contrast to what's happening behind him. He has dominated the Western region just as Brian Swink has dominated in the East. Now, we should note
Look
they
at
will
that.
dangle. Yeah, he's already signaling he's number 1. They will meet in Dallas in a few weeks in a combined Eastern-Western regional race, and that's going to be one to look forward to. It'll be the best in the East, the best in the West in a battle on 125. supercross.
Oh, look at that style and grace. These guys make it look so. I wouldn't let go of those handlebars for anything while that thing is up in the air.
Factory Phil Lawrence, great ride tonight. Second in the main event will earn you a factory ride to go with your factory name, and he got it by using his head when all about them were losing there.
This is Lawrence's best ride of the year. Yeah, I got to kind of, I wonder, is it because they gave him that position, or did he out and out earn it? Either way, he's got it. It goes into the record books, and that goes into the record book as a win for Jeremy McGrath.
Fourth of the season for McGrath, best ride of the year for Factory Phil Lawrence, and you can see what an interval the winner had here, as McGrath was perhaps 10-15 seconds ahead of Lawrence at the checkered flag. Celebration about to begin for the man who clearly dominates in this league. McGrath, Lawrence, Gaddis, Hughes, and Lewis are the top 5. Rounding out the top 10, Tyson Boland, Tommy Clowers, Damon Huffman, Donald Upton, and Ray Crum. Let's hear from the winner.
All right, congratulations, Jeremy McGrath. What a great final heat for you, huh?
Yeah, I had a really good start, and that's what it takes out here. You know, there's a lot of lappers in the way, and we just had to be smart and ride smooth. The track was really slick, and I'm just glad I got that good start, and that's what helped me win here.
We've been talking about you riding the 250s for quite some time, you know, over the last, say, 3 or 4 weeks at least. I mean, has it given you some confidence in this main event tonight?
Well, I think it's given me confidence, and also it's given me a little bit of strength. These guys are tough out here, and it's really hot tonight, you know, out here in Vegas, and I couldn't have done it without my mechanic, Skip Norfolk, and this Team Peak Honda Pro Circuit.
All right, what about the racetrack now? Did it change much from your last heat to the final?
The racetrack's just a little bit more slick. The track's been tough all day, and, you know, it's just a little bit more slick is what I can see.
Congratulations, Jeremy.
Thanks a lot.
It is not a battle for the championship by any stretch of the imagination. McGrath with a huge lead over his teammate. We take a look at the top 5 standings, and Jeremy McGrath continues his march toward a 2nd consecutive championship. Coming up, 250 main event, Damon Bradshaw, Jeff Matasevich rematch. We're back in Vegas, where Damon Bradshaw, the series point leader, makes his parade lap prior to the main event. Earlier today, Bruce Penhall went downtown to check out the odds of a first-time winner here tonight.
Dave, here in Las Vegas, the smart money's probably riding on one of the top 3, Bradshaw, Bale, or Stanton. But consider this. The previous 2 events held here in Las Vegas each produced a first-time Supercross champion. Back in 1990, Jeff Matasevich won his very first Supercross ride here in Las Vegas. 1991, Mike LaRocco did exactly the same thing. So what are the odds of another first-time winner here in Las Vegas? And if so, who's it going to be? Let's ask the fans.
I don't know. I think Bradshaw's going to win tonight.
Mike Kudrowski. Guy Cooper.
Not good.
So who are you going to take tonight?
Just Stanton.
I don't know. I don't know.
Pretty good. Guy Cooper. Yeah, Guy Cooper, of course.
There's 2 factory superstars that have never won a Supercross event before. And believe me, they're long overdue. We had a chance to catch up with Guy Cooper as well as Mike Kudrowski, and we asked them about their chances as well as the odds that they're facing.
Well, I'm hoping it's going to be luck for me tonight and get a good start and get that first win here. But there's 19 other riders that are also thinking that they can get their win here at Las Vegas.
I think they're pretty good. We had a press day and stuff yesterday, and the track's really good. I'm riding, you know, fairly good. And I think my chances are pretty good here. We had a good race in Pontiac, where I got a 2nd behind Bradshaw and led that one for 16 laps. So I'm riding good. I'm feeling fast, and I'm feeling pretty good today.
All right, Dave. The odds say one of the big 3, but tradition says either Kudrowski or Cooper, or even another dark horse. You care to take a bet?
Thanks, but no thanks, Bruce. My money's staying in my pocket. I'll stick to trying to describe this action rather
Too
than betting on it.
unpredictable. It's just too unpredictable. It would be great, though, to see Cooper or another rider that has never won take the checkered flag.
More likely, it'll be one of the big 3. Bale, Stanton, and Bradshaw have been the story of the series. Bradshaw won 5 races in a row before crashing himself out of the lead. Now the Honda team have come back, and Las Vegas will be a critical race as we get set to rock and roll for 20 laps of action. The field set, in gear, here we go. Gate drop. laps. Charge to turn 1. Bale up the inside, trying to get to the front. Whole shot belongs to Larry Ward. And right alongside, Jeff Stanton, number 2, making the inside move. Stanton has the lead. Honda versus Suzuki on lap 1.
Larry Ward comes right back. Stanton wants the lead early. He's having trouble, though, getting it. Ward just not ready to give it up. Stanton would like to put distance between himself and the rest of the field. He wants to do it early because, well, frankly, he'd like to run away from Bale. He'd like to run away from Bradshaw, and Bradshaw did not get a good start. So Stanton might be able to do that. Here comes Bradshaw. He's back about 5th or 6th place. Had the track all to himself, but he's got some catching up to do.
Bale running 3rd, challenging Ward early. Hondas have 2 of the top 3 spots. Good news for them, bad news for Bradshaw, as about a 7th place launch puts the series leader in jeopardy of losing that lead as they work lap 1 here in the Silver Bowl.
A thought just occurred to me, Dave. Rider number 9. We caught a glimpse of him, Jeff Matasevich. Oh, and there goes Ward back to the outside of Stanton. Look at this battle. Now, normally Stanton would run away and hide from Ward, but Ward is strong tonight. Stanton reclaims that number 1 spot. I mentioned Matasevich. He's one of the riders Bradshaw is going to have to pass. There he is off to the left. Remember that earlier confrontation. These two guys do not like each other. Bradshaw's got his work cut out for him.
Matasevich is currently 4th, chasing Bale, and you got to be impressed with Ward. He came through the semifinal, but got a great start for the main event, and he's right there to mix it up with the front runners as Jean-Michel Bale sets his sights on the Suzuki of long, tall Larry Ward up front. Stanton with the good break runs out front, not able to break away. The Hondas suffered early in the season. They simply did not seem to be fully prepared mechanically or in terms of rider motivation, but boy, have they come back strong in the last half-dozen races, and they really put the pressure on Bradshaw tonight. Ward trying to salvage something out of what has been a real up-and-down season. When he's good, he's great. When he's bad, he's terrible.
Well, tonight we're seeing the good, and look at there, Damon Bradshaw making a move. He's caught up now to Denny Stevenson. Back to the leader, Jeff Stanton. Ward goes to the, and there comes Bale on the inside. He makes the pass, takes over the number 2 position.
Bale, the defending series champ, with a great move on Ward, always known for the smooth pass through the rough stuff. Bale just glides effortlessly and immediately begins to open up the separation on Larry Ward, or perhaps more accurately to set his sights on Jeff Stanton. Tucked down on the inside.
Ward is not going away. He's still there plaguing the 2 Honda riders. He's taking the outside lines, the not so good lines, if you will, Dave, and he's staying with them. He's tough tonight. I don't know how long he'll stay there, but right now he's hanging tough.
He's going to take the inside line through the whoop-de-doos, and Matasevich may get by. He does indeed. Number 9, Jeff Matasevich, takes over 3rd spot. Bale looks back over his shoulder to see who's there and sees Team Green. We'll be right back. Dave to Spain with Larry Myers, the battle for the Supercross Championship. We pick up the race for 4th spot as Larry Ward is now challenged by Mike Kudrowski. We mentioned those green bikes. Now you've got 2 of them in the top 4 as Kudrowski moves up to challenge his teammate Matasevich. 2 Hondas on the point, then come the 2 Kawasaki's. Out front, Stanton and Bale pulling away a little bit, and I'm going to put you on the spot. Is Bale going to stay back there, or can he get around?
I thought we agreed we'd keep our money in our pocket. There's Larry Ward. I'm not going to touch that. Larry Ward, you said he's good, he's bad. Now he's doing it in the same race. He's doing both. He was really good at the opening laps, or in the opening laps, and now he's just going backwards. Of course, the guy that's challenging him is Bradshaw, but he's been passed 3 times.
He's racing with his mirrors, too. He's watching behind him and trying to cover the line.
You can't do that. You can't cover your line. You've got to ride your own race. The guy's going to take advantage of it, just like Bradshaw did. He was trying to block Bradshaw's line is the only thing I can think of, and he gave Bradshaw a highway to go through. So Bradshaw moves up to the, number 5 position.
Stanton is your leader. Bale is the challenger. They're trying to get away. They have Bradshaw right where they want him, which is somewhere behind them, and it matters not where. If they run 1-2, they know they can take the series leadership back away from the Yamaha. It has been a seesaw battle. Bradshaw led, then crashed. The Hondas took command. Both these guys have led the standings at one point or another in the season, and now Bale is alongside, ready to try to challenge down through the whoop-de-doos.
Unbelievable ride rider. He is so smooth, so good through the whoops. There is no one in the world better. And now that was an uncharacteristic pass. Bale usually does not take someone to the wall like that. He definitely did that time, almost hitting his own teammate, Jeff Stanton.
Kedrowski gives up a spot to Bradshaw. Damon on the move is into 4th spot. He drops Kedrowski to 5th. Bale will try to accelerate away from Stanton, and it looks to me as if perhaps that interval back to Matasevich is shrinking. Jean-Michel Bale, the reigning king of Supercross competition, came into this season very much detuned, injured, not much tune-up time during the offseason, but he has returned to top form, and Bradshaw is the question mark tonight. He hasn't had to work back from a bad start very often this season. He's doing it now and doing it well. 4th is the position owned by number 4, and I think the most intriguing thing about this is that Matasevich is the guy in front of him. Remember what happened in that qualifying heat race.
I love it when the two riders, Matasevich and Bradshaw, are on the track fighting for a position, and the reason is you never know what is going to happen.
Bale opening up the advantage, always smooth. Whether he's chasing, whether he's leading, he's always smooth. Bradshaw tends to be a little closer to the edge, a little more radical, and now Matasevich is there to challenge Stanton. Matasevich may be riding his best main event.
Matasevich has actually caught Stanton, who is not that far behind Bale. You saw the interval there. Look how close they are. So Matasevich is riding fast. It's not that they're going backward, Dave.
We'll be back with more after this. In Las Vegas is the battleground as Jeff Matasevich feels the heat from his old rival, Damon Bradshaw. Bradshaw rear-ended him when Matasevich made a mistake in the heat race. Now Matasevich is 3rd, the last podium position, and Bradshaw is trying to catch him and pass him and hopefully preserve his championship point lead. Although really Bradshaw needs to not just deal with Matasevich, he needs to get up there and catch those Hondas.
Well, he does indeed, and Matasevich, of course, has the same thing in mind. He would like to pull off some kind of a pass on Stanton, but actually they're starting to lose ground, and Bradshaw cut across the front of Matasevich, and Matasevich ran into him. Now that was some kind of a pass attempt. Here it is again. Look at this. Bradshaw, I think his intention, Dave, was to do some kind of a block maneuver, and it looks to me like he may have lost control. There's a heavy berm down low. Watch this. Bradshaw goes out of the berm, and he intended to try to turn the motorcycle, but he just went absolutely straight. That was not a takeout move. If it had been, Bradshaw never would have been in that position. He could have had his leg broken.
Meanwhile, Cooper is around Ward. This now becomes the race for 4th spot. Kedrowski has inherited 3rd after the collision between Bradshaw and Matasevich. I'll tell you what, Larry, I'll guarantee you Jeff Matasevich is going to claim that that was a takeout move. Bale is your leader with Stanton in tow. Suddenly, Bradshaw and Matasevich have hit the deck. Now, they're both back up and running again, but well back in the field. Leaders working through lap traffic. Stanton has Bradshaw's teammate Emick to deal with. Where's the 3rd place guy? Here he comes, number 3. Kedrowski is 3rd, and Guy Cooper, potential first-time winner, is up to 4th spot. What a dramatic turn of events.
I'll bet back in fact Matasevich has his helmet turned askew as he's looking behind him, wondering if Bradshaw is going to take one more shot before this one is over.
Well, it represents another huge turn in the fate of Damon Bradshaw. Remember, he won those 5 races in a row and then crashed to lose the lead. Now he has crashed again and will lose the lead to the Hondas as Kedrowski continues from 3rd, trying to hold off Guy Cooper. The race is for 3rd and 4th, and for these guys, lap traffic is the key issue. Got to pick your spots carefully, or you too will end up on the ground.
If we go back to 1991, Jean-Michel Bale set a record 8 wins in a season. That gave him the championship. Bradshaw has already won 7, and he's going to end up, before the night is over, in 3rd place in the standings. So what a turn of events.
Cooper stuck behind the lapped rider. Race Homo number 21 and Keith Johnson number 29 making way for the freight train here as Kedrowski gets clear, and Cooper seems to have lost the pace, or perhaps Kedrowski has picked up the tempo a little bit. What was a position battle has now become become a pretty solid third spot here for Mike Kedrowski. Coming off a runner-up finish last week, consistency is certainly no problem for him. He just needs to win one.
Yeah, well, not tonight, though, unless Bale and Stanton come together and both of them crash.
We'll be back to see who's going to hold on for the victory. Jean-Michel Bale leads Jeff Stanton in Las Vegas. Supercross action winding down. Leaders number 1, Jean-Michel Bale. Number 2, Jeff Stanton. Headed for the white flag, indicating 1 lap to go. Huge gap back to the third-place man, Kedrowski. The only remaining drama, can Stanton mount some last-ditch effort and catch Bale? That'd be pretty tough to do. That'd be like drawing an inside straight.
Here in Vegas, of course, they'll try anything. I rather think Stanton would not make a pass attempt, Dave, unless it is an awfully good one at this stage of the game. He's going to settle for second-place points. Bale will take first-place points. They will both move ahead of Damon Bradshaw.
And look who's right in front of Jean-Michel Bale. It is Damon Bradshaw, by our count, 9th on the racetrack, who would be the next man Bale would challenge. I don't think that he'll get up there and mess with Damon. Bradshaw crashed into Matasevich. They both went down, and so it's symbolic here as Bradshaw struggles and Bale and Stanton come by, taking the checker and taking the championship lead. Good night for Mike Kedrowski. After second last week in Michigan, he will come home with a third-place finish as he held off the assault of Guy Cooper and put a Kawasaki on the podium. Bale is the series point leader once again, hoping to defend that number 1 plate. He beats Jeff Stanton, Mike Kedrowski, Guy Cooper, and Larry Ward. Rounding out the top 10, Craig, Matasevich, Swink, Bradshaw, and Brooks. Bruce Penhall is with the winner.
Jean-Michel, that brings the points race a little closer now, huh?
Yeah, you know, I didn't see. I know the Stanton finished second, but I don't know what Bradshaw does. But, you know, win is always very good, so I'm very happy already.
You know, you didn't make a very good start, but it was only within 2 laps before you reeled everybody back in, and you took over the lead, and you never looked back. Did you know that Stanton was pushing you there a little bit?
Yeah, you know, but it's very hard track, and it's very hard to make a, you know, it's very easy to make a mistake. And, you know, I was scared to crash in a couple of last laps. This way I was riding a little bit more easy than the first lap.
I don't know if you knew what was going on behind you, but Chicken and Damon Bradshaw got tangled up, and they both went down. Unfortunately for them, but it sort of helps your points battle a little bit.
Yeah, you know, everything is good for the championship. You know, for more I can take. Look, you know, I take everything I can, and I think it's very good for the next race. There's only 3 races left, and you know, it's time to be on the lead.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'll read him and weep. Damon Bradshaw. Jean-Michel Bale has a 2-point lead over Jeff Stanton. Bradshaw falls to third, 4 back of Stanton. Here's how it happened. Bradshaw crashes himself and Matasevich out of the race. He has been fined $500.
I like this part where Matasevich gets up and says, "Are you all right, Damon?"
You bet. All right, big turn in the championship standings. 3 races still to go. Bale wins it in Vegas. We're off to Dallas, Texas next. Catch it on ESPN. Dave Despain for Bruce Penhall and Larry Myers. So long from Las Vegas. Despain with all the action from the realm of motorcycle.